We all have monsters in our closets. We all have parts of ourselves that we're ashamed of and that we wish just would go away. But the best way to live our lives and become our best selves is to embrace those monsters, to embrace all of ourselves, to give our full selves a seat at the table. Every element of our personality deserves to have a seat at the table, because it's only as you embrace every part of who you are that those parts that you might not like so much start to soften and they stop controlling you from behind the scenes.
Join me, 'cause I'm seeking sunshine, 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 I'm seeking sunshine.
Welcome to Seeking Sunshine, Do What Lights You Up, a podcast for passionate, creative moms who are ready to live their best life and be their full, lit-up selves while being amazing moms, because it's possible to be both. It turns out that you don't have to lose yourself in motherhood, and I'm here to show you how. This is Seeking Sunshine 2.0, because we are no longer focusing on the problems, but on the solutions. It's your turn to shine. Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining me again for another fabulous episode of the Seeking Sunshine podcast. Today is a beautiful February day. I hope that it is gorgeous where you're at. We had pouring rain yesterday, and today, thankfully, it is clear, and so that is nice. Although I will say I do enjoy the rain as long as I don't have to be in it. We've had some really fascinating mornings over here, like that really required a lot of attention to detail and like exciting stuff going on. Like yesterday in the pouring rain, I went to drive my husband to work, and we noticed that the wiper blade of our windshield wipers was like all of a sudden gone, like mysteriously it had disappeared. And I was like, what the heck? So when I went to use the windshield wipers in the rain, it was just metal scraping against the glass windshield. And it was awful. And then I had to like drive to Walmart with no windshield wiper in the rain to go quickly get some new windshield wipers. And it was actually really grateful that I had taken my magic mind that morning, because I was really I was really focused and on point and able to concentrate on everything I needed to do. And we've had a series of mornings like that, because Saturday I had my workshop, and it was the third of my Magic of Podcasting workshops, and the internet went out on Saturday morning, which maybe it's really awful for typical kids in general, but for my severely autistic Joshua, it is about equivalent to the end of the world. Like, no internet is like meltdown central. It's like fix it mom now, tears, throwing things, kicking. It's like end of the world status. So having an hour of that right before my workshop was really exciting, and trying to fix it and unplugging it and plugging it back in, and nothing was working. And now the internet's attached to an extension cord, and it turned out that it was just the extension cord that had been like jostled out of place. Like, all we had to do, like, I kept unplugging it and plugging it back in from the extension cord, but then it was actually the extension cord that had just needed to get pushed right back into place, and then everything was fine. But thankfully, I had all the energy and stamina and focus that I needed because of the magic mind shot that I had taken just before that, which it gives me so much clarity in my day. I'm so grateful for that tool because otherwise I think I would have been wigging out with all the screaming and all of the... It's really easy to get out of sorts when other people in my house are out of sorts. So anyways, I don't know if life at your house gets chaotic sometimes like it does in mine, but it can be really difficult to keep my calm when other people are not calm. And I find that the magic mind helps me to do that. So anyways, I'm really happy that I subscribed back in January, but you can still get some in February. It's really amazing. And if you haven't given it a try yet, I really recommend it. The link is in the show notes. It is really, I use it every day. It's my favorite. So I totally recommend that you go give it a chance because it's something I recommend. So today's episode is a solo episode. It is me, and I think that you're going to love it. It is very deep, very raw, very personal kind of episode. I don't want to give it away because I know that the title is very intriguing, like what is a monster party. It's a good one, guys. I think you're gonna enjoy learning about the deepest, darkest parts of yourself and learning about how I discovered mine. So let's dive right on in. So I have a book problem. It used to be a clothing problem, and I would buy all these clothes, and now I have a book problem. And I have this ridiculously long list of books to read, and that I own, right? Like I have like shelves and shelves and shelves of books to read. And so like I keep getting new ones and putting them on my list. And so then I was at the thrift store, and my son was looking at DVDs, which are his favorite thing right now that he's totally obsessed with. And of course, the DVDs are right next to all the books. And I was looking through the books, and I found this book called The Power of Receiving by Amanda Owen. And it immediately just jumped its way to the very top of my list, like so much so that I was already in the middle of two other books, which I stopped reading and started reading this one instead because it was so very much like I was just called to it. It was like, this is exactly what I need right now. I just felt it, you know? Maybe you've felt that before, and it just called to me. And what was interesting about this book, it's not new. I think it was published in 2010. So it's not a new book. And it had been very loved. It was very, like, almost every line was underlined. There were notes in all the tabs. Like, it got to the point where it was driving me so nuts. There were so many pages folded down, like dog-eared, that I had to go through and just sit there for 20 minutes and undo all the dog ears because they were driving me nuts. So, very well loved book, but I had to read it. So I picked it up somewhere in the couple weeks before Christmas and was reading it on our trip over Christmas, and then just finished it a few days ago. And this book has totally changed my life. It's been a game changer for sure. So this is going to be a very deep episode, a very raw look into me. So, ready, set, here we go. This one's gonna be deep. And we'll see how it goes. So this book is about, the general kind of, it's the power of receiving. And most people, when they start talking about receiving, it has to do with like money and reaching a goal, or, they want to attract, it's about manifesting, and they want to attract love into their life, or, a job or money or something like that. And so that's kind of the surface level stuff that we have going on here in this book. But when you get deeper, it will help you understand yourself on a level that's truly incredible. And the truth is that if you really want to attract money, if you want to manifest money, if you want to manifest the love of your life, and, all of the law of attractions of all that, you have to do the deep work in order for all the rest of that stuff to happen. Like, it's necessary. So some of the concepts in this book, in order to get to the story that I'm going to tell you, it starts with the two circles. There's the big circle and there's the little circle. And the big circle is filled with all of the good things, all the things you love. It's filled with joy and happiness and, money, positivity, all the good things that you're like, yay, I want these things in my life. I love and embrace all these parts of myself. That's everything that's in the big circle. I mean, I'm trying to think of, I don't have the book with me. I'm hiding out in my bedroom with the door locked because my kids are on one today. It's like friendship and love and like just all the happy, good things. And then the little circle is all the bad things that we don't want in our lives. It's all of the lust and hate and envy and anger and, yelling at people and, yelling at my kids. Let's just be honest here. It's all the parts of you that you don't want to be parts of you. It's all the stuff that you're trying to get rid of. It's all the yucky parts that you don't want. It's really, if we're being honest here, it's all the subconscious things that are running you from under the surface because you've excluded them. Those are all the things that are in the little circle. And the idea that she explains here is that nobody wants to be excluded. And we're kind of personalizing all of these things in this little circle and going, they don't want to be excluded either. And the only way to reach all of your goals is just start including them in the big circle and embracing all of you, because what's happening right now is that they're running you from under the surface, whether you like it or not, because you've excluded them and you are trying to keep them out of your life. They're subconsciously coming out whenever you are trying to make big leaps in your life. They're coming out from the shadows and making your dreams not come true, right? Helping you. They're stopping you from manifesting your dreams and your goals and everything, right? So the only way to stop that from happening is to get rid of the little circle and pull all of those negative type kind of things that you don't like, bring them all into the big circle and embrace them and begin to love up on them. And so she has this activity, this exercise that she has you do. And this is a really powerful exercise. And what's interesting about it, it's called a monster party. And she talks about this exercise over and over and over again throughout the whole book. And she gives examples of it. And let's just be totally honest here. I'm the kind of person who reads a book and does not do any of the exercises. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm not an exercise kind of person. I'm just going to read the book and that better be good enough. Right? So, she gives all these examples, these case studies of people, of clients that she worked with who did the monster party exercise and what happened with them. So the idea of the monster party is as follows. It's like a meditation. It's all in your head. It's a mental exercise wherein you declare what your goal is. It starts with the goal. And then you sit quietly and you plan the best party. You spare no expense because it's imaginary. So you think about the most amazing location that you can come up with, and you think about all the decorations, and you plan the most beautiful party that you can think about. Most amazing party. And the guest of honor at this party is hiding in the closet, and it's your monster. And now you just invite one of your monsters, and this monster is one of those, theoretically, it's one of those items from your little circle, okay? And then you invite the monster to the party, and you set the scene, and you have all the people there, and you have all the food, and you lay it all out, and then you open the door, and the monster comes, and you see what happens in this meditative mental exercise. And there were all these people in these exercises who were very resistant to creating a party for their monster. So they had an empty room, or it was very scarcely decorated, or they just didn't have a very nice party. And so, of course, my reaction to seeing all these other people's monster parties was like, I'm going to create the very best party ever. It's going to be the fanciest, most elaborate party ever. Like, you better believe it. But the other thing that I was thinking as I was reading through all of these examples of other people's monster parties was, how can this possibly be unexpected? Because time and time again, they would do this monster party in their mind, and then they'd be like, oh my goodness, look what showed up. I can't believe it. I was so surprised at what monster showed up. I was not expecting whatever came out of the closet, and it looked like this, and it sounded like this, and it was totally unexpected. And I'm like, come on. That's ridiculous. This is coming from your brain. How can it possibly be unexpected? That's ridiculous. Like, you know what's in the small circle. It's your brain. It's your life. It's your body. Like, you know yourself, right? Like, how can this be unexpected? Maybe you know where I'm going with this. Maybe you don't. So I get to the end of the book, and it was super late, and I was like, all right, fine. I'm going to do a monster party. And so I sat there, and I closed my eyes, and I was like, I'm going to have the best, most elaborate monster party. And my goal was a certain outcome for my my course I'm launching. I was like, okay, this is what I want from my course that I'm launching, which I believe I think it's going to launch, my course is going to begin the same day this airs. So that'll be an interesting thing. That was my goal, was about my course that is launching. And my initial thought was to do the party at home. And I started imagining how I would set my house up for a party. And I was like, wait. No, I want this to be a good party. My house is not good enough for a really big fancy party. And so I was like, where's the fanciest place that I've ever been to in my town? And I thought about it, and I thought about this place that I performed at before. It's this event center on the other side of town. And so I was like, okay, that place is pretty fancy. I can't think of anywhere better. So I was like, okay, that seems like a good place for a really fancy party. And so I was imagining all the tables being set up with white tablecloths, big, long rectangle tables with fancy white tablecloths and silver plates that were all stacked with bowls and like fancy folded napkins and big strings of lights everywhere, and waiters who were all decked out in like tuxedos. Really schmancy party, and a really fancy food, and they have this big wall fireplace thing, and it was a really, really classy party. Really, really nice. Tons of people there. And I pictured out in the very front lobby area, because the party was going to be in the big, huge event area that's in the back. And then there's a lobby. And I pictured a table set up with a woman sitting behind the table. Very, not Marilyn Monroe, but the movie that she's in. Like, I'm sorry, I had to come back and insert this because it was not Marilyn Monroe. It was Meryl Streep, and the movie was The Devil Wears Prada. Okay. When she's the editor-in-chief, and the name of the movie is slipping my mind, but very Emily Blunt character, like sitting behind the table, like VIPs only are allowed in this party, and you have to like... she's got her clipboard in her hand, definitely British accent. And she's like not allowing people in the party and only allowing the fanciest people in the party, and like very exclusive kind of deal going on for this party. Like, this is the party that I have imagined in my head for my monster, right? This is because, you know, I had to beat all of the other people that I don't know from this book from 14 years ago. And set up, because I was going to, you know, win this non-existent contest of setting up the best monster contest, because I'm a people pleaser and I have to do this assignment right that didn't need to get done at all. Anyways, so I set up the most elaborate party that I could even fathom. And I opened the closet door, and I had no idea what to expect. You should know this. I was like, I have no idea. Like actually have no idea, like, what monsters in there. Like, you heard my other mini-sode not too long ago about being a people pleaser, so that's kind of what I was expecting. Something about people pleasing and overachieving, like maybe something along those lines is what I was kind of thinking of, but I really wasn't sure what to expect. So I have this huge elaborate party set up, and I open the closet door, and immediately out jumps this little pink fluff ball monster, little teeny pink fluffy ball of a monster, jumps out of this closet, shaking and trembling, jumps into my arms. And she's just scared to death and just shaking and so afraid. And I was just in total shock. And I was like, what? What are you afraid of? And she was like, I'm afraid of all the people. I'm afraid of being judged. And the monster was shyness. She was shy. And I was just floored. Like, this was absolutely not what I was expecting. This was the furthest thing from my mind. She was scared. And I realized that this party that I had set up for this monster was a place that I myself was not even comfortable in. And it was like, oh my gosh. And I carried the little monster around for a few minutes and tried to calm her down. And I don't really remember a whole lot after that. I let her go back in the closet, and I went to bed that night, and I spent the whole next day just in shock, because I was like, I'm not shy. What is this? I'm not shy. I've spent my entire life with this identity that I'm outgoing. I swear to you, I'm outgoing. No, I'm outgoing. No, really. I promise you I'm outgoing. And it was like, the thing I've been hiding all along is that I'm shy. And what's really funny, if you're listening to this and you're like, wait, you're not shy. Maybe you know me well. And because I told this to my husband, and he was like, oh my gosh, you are shy. Because my husband knows me better than anyone. And he was like, yeah, you are shy. And it took so much for me to embrace that part of me, because I was like, that's not who I am. I've spent my whole life not being that person. It's official. Podcast Like a Mother is here. This is my podcast coaching program where I lead you one-to-one through the entire process of building your own podcast. I will guide you every single step of the way as you figure out what topic you want to talk about, what lights you up, and how to do the entire process beginning to end. I'm going to show you every single thing that I know, and it's going to be amazing. I'm going to show you how to make podcasting fun and easy and sustainable. If you want to schedule a breakthrough call with me to see if this is the right next step for you, check out the link in the show notes. Now, and you have to understand, because it took me a whole day. Like, it took me a long, and I say a whole day, but like, it took me a long time, and I'm still working through this, of understanding myself and how this could be, and who am I, and what the heck, and what? Because I love talking. I love singing. But I think there was something a long time ago as a kid where it was like, oh, you love to talk, so you must be outgoing. You love to sing, so you must be outgoing. You love to be the pretty princess and sparkle and twirl, so you must want to be the center of attention. And the more that I've have dove into this shyness thing, I'm realizing that, like, what shy means for me is not what people tend to think shy means. It doesn't mean I don't want to be around people. I actually am really great around people. I just tend to be really great one-on-one. But I'm not the life of the party. I never have been. You don't stick me in a room full of people and see me lighting up the room. I light up the room when it's just you and me. And if you're like, oh, yeah, I have seen that. It's true. I'm really good talking one-on-one. I'm really good one-on-one. But like in person, in a crowded space, I'm usually shrinking into a corner. I'm not an initiator. I'm really not. And I've been trying to be that my whole life. I've been trying to convince myself that I'm supposed to be initiating when it never felt good. It never felt comfortable, and I didn't want to. I want to be invited. That's what I want so badly. It's what I've wanted my whole life. I want to be invited. And it's so funny because if you invite me, oh, you'll get the sunshine. You'll get all of it. And I'm so open and I'm so bam, I'm here. You invite me and you get all of it. But if I'm not invited, I'm kind of hiding in a corner. And it's really like I was talking about this with my husband, and he was, because he's a singer too, and he's definitely not the same as I am, and that's great. We all have so much beauty to offer the world, and he was talking about how much fun it is to sing as loud as you can, and I love doing that. It's one of my favorite things ever because I'm big and loud, and I don't often get to just sing as loudly as I can, and I love doing it. But you better invite me or you'll never see it. Like, it just doesn't happen. And so my husband was talking about how sometimes when he's at work, and he works for this car company, and sometimes he's the only one in the whole like area. Like all the other companies around him, like on a Saturday or something, there'll be no one around working, and he'll just sing at the top of his lungs just for the fun of it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I could never do that. Oh my gosh, I'd be so worried that somebody somewhere might overhear me, that I couldn't do that. And I'm sitting here like, I put my music out on my podcast. I have an album out. Like, I'm pretty confident in my voice. Like, I go on podcast interviews and I will be sick and not warmed up, and they'll be like, will you sing a line for me from your song? And I'll be like, sure. Like, if you invite me, I'm there for it. So confident, no problems. But if I'm not invited, oh my gosh, I can't. Like, I'm not. Nope, so shy. Can't do it. Shut down. And I'm going to mention this just because I feel like it's really important. But if it doesn't resonate with you, then no worries. I've been fascinated as I've been learning about human design over the last year. And I started learning about human design because I wanted to understand my kids better. Because, I've got 3 kids with autism, and I've wanted to understand them better so I could be a better mom. And so I started learning about human design, and what I ended up learning was so much about me. I learned all this stuff about myself that's just it's really been transformational. It's been truly incredible. And one of the things, that I learned about myself is that I'm a projector. Not just a projector, I'm a 5/1 mental projector, if you are familiar with human design. But the projector type is meant to be invited. Like, our strategy is wait for the invitation. And it's so interesting as I have been pondering this shyness part of me and trying to learn how to embrace it. And looking back at my life and going, oh my gosh, when I wasn't invited, this shyness energy has taken over. and made it really hard for me to speak up and do anything. And it's like, oh my goodness, I can see it. And when I'm invited, boom, bang, I'm there. I'm so in it and I'm so good. But I really have to be invited. There's just something about it. I crave that invitation. I crave it. Like, I want to be recognized. And that's been, it's difficult. Projectors, if you're a projector, like, how hard it is to be like, wait for the invitation. All I want to do is be recognized, and you can't force that. And like, forcing things never works anyways. But like, to have to sit and wait around for other people is a really difficult strategy in life. But there's also, a magic to it, to just being in alignment and being your best self and then having that. So it's been quite the eye-opening thing to have done this monster party and to see this part of myself that I am coming to realize that I've been denying for a really, really long time. Not just denying its existence, but hating it so much. And I've realized, like, as I was deep diving into this, one of the first things I did the next morning was I went to YouTube. I don't know why I went to YouTube, but I went to YouTube because YouTube is a great search engine. And I searched, what are the powers of shyness? And I tell you what, like 90% of the videos that came up were about overcoming shyness and how to conquer shyness. And I was like, oh my gosh, no wonder I've been denying this part of myself my whole life. No wonder I didn't want to be shy. We've been taught, as people, we've been taught our whole lives that being shy is bad, that it's not good for you and you should overcome it. You should conquer it. And it's not true. Like, it's just it's just one of the colors of the rainbow. It's just another, element of humanity. And it's like, sometimes I feel outgoing and sometimes I feel shy. It just depends on who's around me and what's going on. And for me, it really has a lot to do with being invited. And I'm like, it's really not even about the number of people. Like, if I'm invited to speak to a large amount of people, I'm fine. Like, I speak at Toastmasters. It's not a large amount. I mean, there's like 20 people there. But if I'm invited to speak to a large amount of people, like, I don't have like the fear of the numbers. It really is about an invitation for me. But like, we've been conditioned our whole lives to think that being shy is a bad thing. And so what I want to tell you is that, like, however you are is okay. Whatever your personality is beautiful just the way that it is. And it's really such a part of growing up and learning who you are and maturing to start going back and looking at your life and going, oh, here's who I really am. Here's the parts of me that I was told that I was supposed to be. And here's the parts of me that are actually authentic. Because I'm realizing so much of me that, like, oh, I'm only like this because I was told or I observed in the world around me that this is what I needed to be to be successful, right? And like, how many of us, that's got to be true for like all of us, right? It's like, here's what I picked up as a kid that I was like, this is what you do to be a good person, to be successful, to please others. And when you please others, you are successful, right? Like, that's just the truth of it. And so we have to start going, wait a minute, I don't need to please people to be a good person or to get love. I don't have to be outgoing to be happy. There's actually value in being shy. People will still love me. People will still listen to me. And I can still be seen, even if I'm shy. So this is my big vulnerable share for you, is that my deep, dark secret, my monster that I've been hiding, is shyness. Which, okay, I guess you're sitting here going, all right, you're sitting here and you share stuff on social media all the time, and you have 2 podcasts. Like, shyness is not taking over your life. It's not deeply affecting you, but it's something that I was really ashamed of. And I didn't want anyone to know about it. And I didn't even want myself to know about it. I didn't want it to exist. And there's plenty of other parts of myself that I could say the same thing about. A lot of it has to do with body shaming and that kind of stuff. But we all have monsters in our closets. We all have parts of ourselves that we're ashamed of and that we wish just would go away. But the best way to live our lives and become our best selves is to embrace those monsters, to embrace all of ourselves, to give our full selves a seat at the table. Every element of our personality deserves to have a seat at the table, because it's only as you embrace every part of who you are that those parts that you might not like so much start to soften, and they stop controlling you from behind the scenes. It's only as I embrace this shy part of me that I'm going to be able to find the success that I'm looking for in all these areas of my life. I have to learn how to love all of me, and so do you. So I'm sharing all this because I feel like it's really applicable to all of us. You know, we need to learn who we are on the deepest level possible so that we can be better people, because that's where the peace and the joy really are. That's where they really lie, is in coming to terms with the parts of ourselves that we've been hiding from for so long. So I encourage you to throw a monster party and see what turns up. And I totally encourage you to go find this book, The Power of Receiving by Amanda Owen, and give it a read. It's very, very good and very, very life-changing. Thank you so much for listening today. I was really bearing my soul here and sharing about this monster party and about this part of me that is shy. And what's been really interesting is, as I've shared this story a couple times now, I've actually had people who have told me, wow, you know, I actually see you as shy. And when I was worried about sharing the story, I was thinking that people were going to go, you're not shy. You don't have anything you've never struggled with being shy. That's like a real struggle for some people. And I was actually scared of sharing this story, but I've had so much beautiful, positive feedback from it already. And it just goes to show that you don't have to be afraid of sharing yourself. People are actually so loving and so kind. And sometimes we just don't see ourselves the way that other people do. And they can maybe really see us in a more pure light than we can see ourselves. And so what's more, even before I share these takeaways, when I recorded this, it was actually right before I was launching my Podcast Like a Mother Masterclass. And then I recorded this, and then I did the launch, and I did the workshops, and I was planning on having this big, huge 12-week live program. And it's so funny as I am reflecting on this whole monster party experience and that 12-week program I was planning. As I did the workshop, I started to realize that didn't feel like freedom to me, and that I really didn't even want people signing up for it because it wasn't aligned. It wasn't right for me. And I was, listening back through this episode and pulling out the takeaways and going, I was planning a party that didn't feel right. That's what the 12-week program was. It wasn't right. It was a party that felt misaligned. And so now I'm actually entirely restructuring what the masterclass is going to look like. It's no longer going to be live. It's no longer going to be like a set in stone time where you have to, join at this time, because that actually never worked for me to begin with. I was like, if people don't join now, right at the beginning of February, then they won't be able to do it because in 12 weeks, my kids get out of school for the summer and I won't even be able to do it anymore. And so I'm entirely changing the way that I'm going to do it. I'm going to split that entire 12-week content up into 5 mini classes, and I'm going to pre-record them. And then I'm going to lower the price because it will be pre-recorded and it won't require all of my energy to be live. And then it's just going to be so much better in the end. And I'm really, really excited for it. And it was quite a stretch as I was learning these things about myself, but it's going to result in so much more freedom for me, but also it's going to be better for everybody who wants to learn podcasting from me, because then you can just learn it without any time constraints, without any rules about when you can sign up and when you can be part of it and how much time it's going to take you. And it's going to allow for so much more freedom all the way around. So if that's something you're interested in, send me a message, send me an email, send me a DM. I will make sure that there's a link in the show notes where you can schedule time to talk with me about podcasting, because I love talking to people one-on-one. I'm really, really good with that. So it's all about learning more about yourself is so, so powerful. So here are the takeaways from this episode. Number 1, we all have so much beauty to offer the world. Number 2, you can't force it. Forcing things never works anyway. Number 3, there's a magic to being in alignment and being your best self. Number 4, no wonder I didn't want to be shy. We've been taught our whole lives that being shy is bad, that it's not good for you, and you should overcome it. You should conquer it, and it's not true. Number 5, however you are is okay. Whatever your personality is, it's beautiful just the way that it is. And it's really such a part of growing up and learning who you are and maturing to start going back and looking at your life and going, oh, here's who I really am. Here's the parts of me that I was told that I was supposed to be, and here's the parts of me that are authentic. Number 6, we have to start realizing that we don't need to please people to be a good person or to get love. I don't have to be outgoing to be happy. There's actually value in being shy. People will still love me. People will still listen to me, and I can be seen even if I'm shy. Number 7, we all have monsters in our closets. We all have parts of ourselves that we're ashamed of and that we wish would just go away. But the best way to live our lives and become our best selves is to embrace those monsters, to embrace all of ourselves, to give our full selves a seat at the table. This was such a deeply personal episode. I hope that you got something from it. And if it meant something to you, if it helped you, I hope that you will share it. I hope that you will leave Seeking Sunshine a review, because it really does help me so much to get reviews. It helps other people to see this show. And again, I just want to thank you for being here. We're getting really, really close to 4,000 downloads. So I would super love your help to get us that bump up to 4,000. If you would share this episode or a mini-sode, like I've got little snippets of sunshine every day. If you want to share those, it would mean so much to me. I hope you have an incredible day, and I will leave you with a song.